Welcome to Hexagon City, where mystery and adventure await. Join us in this gripping tale of intrigue and discovery. With twists and turns at every corner, you will be on the edge of your seat. So what are you waiting for? Head to YouTube now and watch the Tale of Hexagon City and diversity. Join Dr. Kehinde Adeyemi on a mathematical journey through 16 episodes of twists and turns. The death of Adeyemi brought a political geometry and permutation in the city, as many felt it would not be out of place if they had come out to become the king and even serve in the king's council if King Olademo would stand by his promise. Many credible people went to hide their faces and heads for fear of being killed or lynched, as they could not trust King Olademo's decision. But some bad people, as well as those that still had some credibility, decided to come out to challenge the king and said they would be ready to contest for the position of the king of Hexagon City and village head positions. Sequel to the death of Adeyemi and the tension in the city, Olademo peacefully left the throne on 31st July 1963 and handed over to Kuku as regent, who was the chief priest during his time to monitor the selection of families and election, as it had been the city's custom before. On 11th August 1963, the committee set up by Kuku to search and conduct an election for the king met. The committee did very well and produced a new king later in the year. In compensation for Chidume, who had been imprisoned by King Olademo and was later released after the death of Adeyemi, since he too had the qualities to be king and more so had been a community leader before, Chidume was elected and enthroned by Kuku as the 6th king of Hexagon City on 21st December 1969. The reign of the new monarch, King Chidume, became so successful that the people in the city rejoiced, and those who had decided not to come out to contest for the kingship and village head positions started regretting that this is now the kingdom of the people, for the people, and by the people. King Chidume transformed the city. His experience in the palace jail and the circumstances of his selection and election helped a great deal to enable him to lead with fairness, justice, and equity.
O King, kindly rule with peace, justice, equity, and fairness.
He brought innovations into the kingdom with new ideas. The city men and women loved his programs, and many of the children of the city who had earlier fled the city came back to the city and began to do business again. King Chidume brought a woman called Ugbebo to his council. Ugbebo was just a woman like a man, and incidentally, she was from the king's zone.
I'm glad to be appointed by the king to the royal council, and I will work diligently.
The king relied on her for pieces of advice, and all the people in the city too admired her for her relentlessness, doggedness, and devotion to duty. She joined forces with the king to revamp Hexagon City economy. Ugbebo, a graduate of Calculus University in Hexagon City, changed the economic atmosphere of the city so that the economy began to boom again. In the reign of King Chidume, many innovations and discoveries in science and technology, which the city never had before, were invented. Life became easy and life came back to the city again as both young and old began to enjoy electricity, piped water, and many other things. Well, King Chidume thought he could continue to rule, but was reminded by Oshatuyi, the new chief priest after Kuku, that the regulation for the kingship reign is that kings must rule within a certain number of years, and after that, they would leave. This is unlike waiting for the king's death before a new king emerges. Of a truth, King Chidume deserved to be allowed to continue to reign, but he did not want to change the rules of the city, as he allowed Oshatuyi, the chief priest, to do his normal duty to enthrone a new king when it was time. During the reign of King Shidume, citizens continued to bring up good ideas and he had listening ears. The king was loved by all and sundry even after he had left the throne. But before leaving the throne, King Shidume ensured that 85% of the good requests brought by the zones to the palace were granted, and he operated under the principle of equity and justice. The king depended on his royal council members and his other appointees in taking concrete decisions. He respected members of his council disregarding their status, gender, or background. The king maintained cordial relationships with both old and young, male and female, and it was a great and memorable time in Hexagon City.